Hey guys, it's Fansite, and I'm here to give you an in-depth review on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet for the Nintendo Switch. I recently completed Scarlet and wanted to give my honest thoughts and opinions on the game as a whole. I broke my criteria down into 4 sections that I think best encompass the qualities of this game: overworld and game design, Pokemon, music and sound design, and features and qualities of life. Hopefully, this review will highlight the strengths and weaknesses that this game has to offer, and allow you to make an educated and relatively spoiler-free decision on where to spend your hard-earned money. If you have any questions or comments on my opinions and experiences, feel free to leave a comment. I read each one. Now, for our first category, let's take a look at the overworld and the game design as a whole. Scarlet and Violet are truly an open-world experience, complete with a large map to explore, minimal load screens, and tons of unique critters to find. These new areas are chock full of Pokemon, and make exploring a genuinely fun experience. Pokemon interact with their environment, making them feel more dynamic and personable as you catch and battle. It was refreshing to see spiders hanging from trees, birds up above, and sand-dwelling Pokemon submerged in the desert. As you enter the game, you're given a small tutorial before being released in the world, able to explore, capture, and battle at your own leisure. All gyms and objectives can be battled in any order, providing a unique challenge to those looking for one. The game does a good job of promoting synergy between the 3 total storylines, rewarding you with ride upgrades and ease of capture for higher leveled Pokemon in the wild. The NPC dialogue and designs are fairly enjoyable for recent Pokemon standards. Larry is my witness. And the story, interestingly enough, has one of the best payoffs out of the series. I was pleasantly surprised with the way it wrapped itself up. Onto the regional gimmick, this time around comes in the form of terastallizing, a way to change types and boost power of certain moves in battle. Compared to Dynamax and Z-moves from past generations, Terra battles seem more thought out and enjoyable for the in-game experience. The raid mechanic returns as well in the form of Terra raids, allowing you and up to 3 friends to challenge a type-changed Pokemon for XP and the chance to capture it on defeat. Terra Pokemon can also show up in the wild, and are a neat addition to the overworld encounters. On the topic of encounters, you are now able to initiate every trainer battle in the overworld, allowing you to fight and train at your leisure. This can help increase the difficulty since Pokemon refuses to make it slighter. Now, you may have noticed that I didn't touch on the performance or graphical prowess of these games in the pros section, and for a damn good reason. From a game design perspective, there's not a single positive thing that I have to say. The game struggles to maintain 30 frames per second and ironically runs worse in the docked mode of the Switch. You're unable to change the speed of the camera, and simply put, looking around in a 360-degree motion causes the game itself to lag out. Low-resolution textures seem to render at a 10-foot radius around the player, causing rocks, trees, grass, and nearly any environmental set piece to jarringly change its appearance or poof itself into existence. Speaking of poofing into existence, Pokemon pop-ins make it genuinely annoying to traverse the map or plan routes to catch or avoid Pokemon. Bugged terrain will have your character stuck and reverted to the last autosave, falling through the map, and well, just take a look at the amount of jank I ran into in my playthrough. Towns that are littered across the region would have been interesting if they weren't empty soulless husks with sandwich shops. No, seriously, you can't enter houses in the towns and cities in this game. Breaking and entering is an RPG staple, and one of the main ways players gather lore about the surrounding area as well as items and tips from NPCs. I found myself entering towns solely for the gym battles and nothing more. While the map was massive and neatly sectioned into interesting environments, I couldn't help but feel that there was a lot of the areas that were unfinished or lazily rushed. I mean, come on, you expect me to believe that this is one of the top sites in the region? The lack of lore and polish from other Pokemon games is glaring, and it made it tough to connect with the world outside of the Pokemon. You won't stumble across the power plant by accident and find the mythical Zapdos in his lair, or random caves with legendary loiterers, no roaming legends, no hidden challenges, just the bare minimum to skate by. This sadly removes a lot of the wonder that caused me to fall in love with the franchise. Now, this could easily be fixed and remedied with events and story updates like in other games and franchises, but to my knowledge, Game Freak seems to be more interested in selling those things as DLC after removing the content from the base game. Contributing to the lack of content is the inability to rematch the Elite Four and the removal of the Battle Tower for some odd reason. If this is an indicator, the post-game is also unfortunately lacking. The next category, and I dare say the best part of this game, is how they handle the Pokemon. With 107 new designs, nearly every single creature hits its mark. I can't stress enough how much I enjoy the Pokemon concepts in this generation as a whole. Sure, there's a stinker or two like Shroodle, but every generation has its Grottles and Quilladins. Speaking of the starters, I enjoyed all the base forms and the rock, paper, scissors typing that they gave them with Dark Ghost and Fighting as well. And hey, 2 out of 3 design-wise is a success in my eyes. Just don't talk about this guy. In all seriousness, the new models, textures, and animations look beautiful and are by far the best part of this game. New items, typings, and abilities are also a blast to experiment with, and make team building deep and engaging. Rastalizing also doesn't feel forced, and is a welcome addition of strategy for battles and raids as a whole. But the real stars of the show this generation have to be the new Paradox Pokemon. An absolute genius concept that was executed extremely well, allowing fun and out-of-the-box designs to fit in the world of Pokemon. Cons for this category were few and far between, ultimately boiling down to a few small things, these being no sound or glint in the overworld outside of the color change on a shiny Pokemon. This is a lot more frustrating when you see the small sizing on the models and the negligible differences in the shiny forms now. Pop-ins still plague the overworld, resulting in a break of environmental immersion, and while you can still bring your Pokemon out of the ball, they still haven't seemed to figure out how to have your Pokemon keep up with you. There's also weirdly a few issues with breeding, resulting in eggs only being able to be hatched one at a time, and there's no contact in battles like Legends Arceus had, which was a welcome addition. But my last gripe is on the multi-hit moves and stat boosts. These are extremely time-consuming for the player, and extremely unoptimized. You have to edit a multi-hit move in your trailer, there's probably a good chance you're doing something wrong. Thankfully, most of these could be easily fixed in a future update with minimal effort to the devs. The third category is music and sound design. And while all Pokemon music is good in my opinion, the tracks for Scarlet and Violet slap. The environment and battles have their own themes that fit exceedingly well and allow you to immerse yourself in the world further. I also found it hilarious that the first Pokemon mod ever released just removed Ed Sheeran, so 10 out of 10 on that mod. Sadly, there's once again a lack of voice acting, a shame since the endgame characters would have been more memorable with a voice to their models. It's a AAA franchise, and the #1 media franchise in the world. A little more effort into voicing would be nice. Heck, I'd even do it for free. If Game Freak needs a depressed, monotone voice for, say, I don't know, my boy Larry, consider me in. I'd even take the devs just taking a stab at English as opposed to the eerie silence and block of text. The last category is the quality of life and features. We're going to do a lightning round for this one since there's some overlap of the previous sections. Day and night cycles and spawns make a return. Cool new Pokemon overlays bag is easy to use. New Pokédex looks clean. Easier to find Pokemon in boxes. Auto battles to grind materials and XP. Crafting TMs. Selfie function. Skippable cutscene option. Level 50 use bottle caps instead of 100. Items easy to see and fun to find. We unfortunately also have the removal of key and beloved features such as catching Pokemon in the overworld, entering towns and houses, removal of set battle options, eat dirt, Nuzlockers, no camera settings, limited volume options, hard bake XP share, the ability to turn off battle animations, no battle tower, no Elite Four rematches, no badges? Good luck catching anything. Bugged targeting, no shiny sound, minimap incorrectly displaying Pokemon, gym leader moves. No, seriously, one Pokemon has 4 moves, and the rest have 3 or less, look it up. No difficulty options, and last but not least, drumroll please, no frames! In conclusion, what I think Scarlet and Violet nailed this generation was the Pokemon. The models, animations, and interesting designs are what keep you invested in your playthrough. As a longtime Pokemon fan, I'd say this is one of the most important things to get right. They killed it, credit where credit's due. The open world stories are also fun and refreshing, weaving nicely into a strong finale. The world is large and houses a neat variety of Pokemon and environments, including the newly found Terra battles and raids. The music is fantastic, and the characters are interesting enough to keep you reading their dialogue. Unfortunately, all of these great positives are ripped out from under your feet by the largest looming issue that plagues this game: performance. The inconsistency of the frames, lag, bugged textures, pop-ins, forced closes, and much more dampen what would otherwise be a very fun and very fresh Pokemon experience. The quality of life took a step backwards, as features beloved by fans and players alike were cut for seemingly no reason. The positives feel like a step in the right direction, but each step forward seems to yield 2 back. And we've been hearing a step in the right direction for 10 plus years now, with no fully polished or well-rounded product to show. Frankly, it's tough to rate this game, as it's clearly incomplete. You're paying $60 to the #1 media franchise in the world for what feels like a pre-alpha. It's insulting, really. While there's many things that I love about this game, I'd rate this game 6 out of 10 and unfinished. If they can figure out the buggy code and the frame rate issues, which were not remotely fixed on their day 1 patch, and nothing else, then I would love to give this game at least an 8 out of 10. But I can't. It's incomplete, lacking in features, quality of life, polish, and most of all, frames. Hopefully they're able to address these problems in the near future, as I'd love to explore the world without pop-ins and jarring technical issues. Thanks again for taking the time to watch my review, and if there's something I missed or things you agree or disagree with, let me know in the comments below. I try to read them all. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.